I think when he speaks about loyalty, he's practically speaking about ethnic cleansing. To repeat some acts of ethnic cleansing that took place in Palestine in 1948, but it's about getting rid of the Arabs who live in Israel and who have Israeli citizenship and who represent 20% of the population. And more than that, when he speaks about loyalty, just to make it clear, it would be anybody who is against war, for instance, that is conducted by Israel on Gaza or anywhere else, would be considered as an illoyal or unloyal citizen. Anybody who is not supporting occupation would become not loyal to Israel. This is why it is very dangerous and risky. It is putting the oppressed, which are the Palestinians and the Arabs, who are oppressed from racism and discrimination, in a situation where either they approve of their own oppression by the Israeli government, or they become disloyal to the Israeli government and then entitled to losing their citizenship. That is the risk, and that's why it looks like a very clear neo-fascist approach. Now, on the issue of settlements, I want to say that since 1967, there hasn't been any period where there was a real freeze of settlement activities. On the contrary, they have been growing at a much faster rate, especially during the times of the so-called peace process. During Annapolis period, the rate at which settlement continued to expand was 40 times more than before Annapolis. And now we are witnessing the creation of even whole new settlements. That was under Kadima. That was under the coalition of Labour and Kadima, Livni and Barak, and without Netanyahu. So you can imagine what would be the case. In my opinion, we have reached a very critical moment, and that's why these elections are of great importance, because they bringing in of a racist tendency in Israel and this whole extreme coalition into the Israeli government, which would be the case, is happening exactly at a moment when we are about to lose the last opportunity of two-state solution. Because of the growth of settlements, because of the fragmentation of the West Bank, because of the consolidation of a situation where Palestinians practically live now in Pantostans and ghettos, and in a situation where after 15 years of the creation of the Palestinian Authority, the only road open for it by Israel is to become only a security sub-agent for occupation and something like Vichy government in a Pantostan entity. That is the risk, and that's why this is dangerous, not only because it is against peace, but also it is like the last hit in the direction of killing the final or the last opportunity of two-state solution. And this has been a subject that I've been discussing here with many people in the United States administration, at the Senate. Yesterday I had a very, very good meeting with John Kerry, the head of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And I hope the only thing that can stop this wave of extremism, this wave against peace, is only a strong United States stance. I don't know if it will happen, but I can tell you this is the time of challenge. If the United States does not immediately take steps to stop settlement expansion, and if the United States does not immediately take steps to tell Israel enough is enough, I think the two-states option will be lost forever.
Do you feel, Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, as you come here to Washington, you've come here many times, that you've come into a new era, a new government? Do you think President Obama represents something different? And what are your thoughts on George Mitchell as his Middle East envoy?
Absolutely. It is early to say still, because, you know, many appointments have not been filled yet. But so far, from what I have seen, from the people I have met with, you can feel the breeze of change in Washington. You can feel it's a totally different Washington from what we had, for instance, 3 months ago or 2 months ago. And I would like to emphasize here that I believe that the last war on Gaza, plus other things that the Israeli government did jointly with Bush administration, was nothing but an effort to create a preemptive strike against Barack Obama administration. That was clear in the resolution 1850, which tried to restrict the peace process only to the failing Annapolis process. And that was clear in the war and intensification of tension in the region to prevent, in my opinion, peaceful dialogue with Syria and Iran that Barack Obama wants to have, and to obstruct a fast and quick withdrawal from Iraq. But finally, that agreement that was concluded between Livni and Rice in the very last hours before Rice left her position was also a preemptive strike against this administration. But I tell you, I feel change. We looked forward
Explain what that agreement was.
That agreement was that the United States and NATO will be providing guarantees to Israel and provide protection to the occupying force being Israel and to prevent resistance of the Palestinian people who are under occupation. So this is the first time in human history where from one side the people under occupation in West Bank are supposed through this huge security apparatus which is consuming 34% of our budget, depriving us from healthcare and education, the Palestinian Authority is supposed to provide protection to its occupiers, and the world community has to provide protection to the occupying force of Gaza, in this case the Israeli occupying force.
And George Mitchell?
The essence of About Mitchell, I think that is a positive. I think the appointment of Senator Mitchell was perceived in the Middle East as a very positive step. I consider it very positive. I know Mitchell, we've met before. I know that his stand on settlements was very clear. And now is the challenge. I think after coming to the area one or two or three times more, it will be clear whether that the only recommendation he should make immediately is to stop settlement activities. And if that does not happen, then unfortunately I think the whole area would go into a complete collapse of the peace process. I feel here in Washington some new trends. First of all, there is more sensitivity to the issue of settlements. I think there is more inclination to accept our view, our point of view, that Palestinians should be allowed to have a national unity government. And thirdly, that we should allow Palestinian democracy to be revived. You know that Israel has slaughtered the democratic transformation in Palestine by arresting our members of parliament. And if Israel is entitled to democratic elections, then I think we as Palestinians are entitled to that. I believe this is just a beginning. I hope we will go in the right direction. And maybe these results of elections in Israel will show everybody that time has come for a real change in the American policy. Every value that President Obama spoke about, values of respect of human rights, of democracy, of respect for the Geneva Convention, avoiding torture, justice, equality, equal opportunity, every value of those are violated by Israel.
We're going to have to leave it there. Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, independent Palestinian lawmaker and democracy activist, ran for president of the Palestinian Authority. Neve Gordon teaches politics, head of the Department of Politics and Government at Ben-Gurion University in the Negev. He's author of Israel's Occupation. Our website's democracynow.org. Democracy Now! Produced by Mike Berkshire, from producer Armata Angela Combs, Steve Martinez, Nicole Salazar. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks for joining us.